Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're looking at the ingress of Mars into Virgo, and I would like to point out something that Mars is at the anaretic degree, 29th degree of Leo right now, and interestingly enough, the fixed star Regulus from astrologyking.com. I'm just ripping this off from them. They say the traditional name of Regulus is Latin for prince or little king. In Chinese, it's the yellow emperor. In Babylonian, the king. And so there's a whole kind of regal thing going on with Leo. Obviously, the sign of the sun, and the royal fixed stars are the stars which are the cardinal representative of the cardinal directions, right? Um, so it, and there's this whole issue, of course, when you talk about the precession of equinoxes, that they don't always line up with the constellations. For example, I have Scorpio Sagittarius stuff, but the royal fixed star for Scorpio, which is Antares, the heart of Scorpion, is in Sagittarius, right? But the Leo royal fixed star, Regulus, is at the 29th degree, which happened, that's how it's drifted over the years, but it's at the very edge of Leo, right? So there's some sort of interesting symbolism that the 29th degree of Leo, these signs, that the signs aren't the constellations, the signs are 30-degree evenly portioned segments, whereas the constellations are just the unevenness of nature, right? That nature doesn't conform to this neatly divided up thing. And so you've got some eccentric kind of qualities, things that don't quite match up with the geometry, in the fact, in this example, that Regulus is at the 29th degree of Leo, whereas, for example, there's a fixed star, royal fixed star, Aldebaran, which is in Gemini, and so you've got like they're not evenly the royal fixed stars. Some of them are immutable signs, and some of them are still in fixed signs. And so maybe as this keeps going in the direction that they move, I suppose eventually we'll have Regulus in Virgo at some point with the continued precession of the equinoxes. And I mention this because the royal fixed stars, it's like, people who do sort of shamanic stuff or magic stuff, they often invoke the four directions, right? And these are the royal fixed stars stand for the four directions, so that they're highly charged. And Leo, of course, having cross-cultural royal imperial significance and all this kind of stuff, and with this whole Venus Mars square Uranus dynamic that's been going on. I just wanted to say that I was noticing yesterday. I mean, it is the summertime, and there is, sometimes people party or there's like sports stuff going on, but there is I mean, it was funny that it timed up so well with this Mars on Regulus, because there's a sort of like the loudness of Mars and the showiness of Leo, right? And the highly charged quality of the royal fixed star. And I'm not paying attention to the news. I'm not looking that closely at what's happening with all these wars and with Russia and all this kind of stuff. But I'm just having. There's also not only just loud sports stuff, but people like, it's like the sort of like people revving their motorcycles, and I'm feeling a little bit cranky. I was thinking about going out to some breakcore show, but I didn't know if I had the energy for it. And this is kind of also, I think, what's gonna come up as we go through this ingress, which is just, if we click forward, it's only one day, and we've got Mars and Virgo. One of the thing about coming up for me with this one is that Virgo, compared to Leo, I think is probably a little bit more introverted, if you want to use that word, being the yin to the yang, right? The transition into a more of a yin sign and the earth sign. And if we think about the, tarot or whatever associations, although I mean, not everybody uses these associations, but they do associate the Hermit with Virgo. And so I think there's a sort of, I think one of the qualities though of Virgo can be a more private, kind of low key kind of quality. And when you have that coming into the aspect of the opposition to Saturn, as you can see, to be completely honest, I'm not really looking forward to this one. Because it is the two malefics of the traditional astrology in opposition, which is considered to be one of the more difficult aspects. And so the two things that are difficult in a difficult aspect to each other, Saturn is in the Saturn decan of Pisces. So at least Saturn, I think there's something about Saturn in this position. It's kind of moody. It kind of doesn't. It's kind of funny because I always associate it as the guy's wandering off. It's kind of escapist quality. The Eight of Cups. It's the Eight of Cups with Saturn and the Eight of Pentacles or the Eight of dineros, or discs or donaires or whatever. The in the opposition, not donaires. That's a kind of like a rap. I should probably eat some food if I'm starting to talk about food instead of tarot cards. But anyways, the point is that there's a kind of the daily grind of it's a guy working away, making a lot of stuff. There's a certain there could be a kind of a productive thing, or kind of working against an obstacle, or chipping away at some large thing. But there is a kind of, I think, the force of entropy, the force of frustration, and at least though, what can we say? That Jupiter and Uranus are in Taurus, and because those are both Earth signs, that they'll be getting a supportive Mars in Virgo is going to be getting a supportive trine aspect from Jupiter and Uranus, and then, as I pointed out in a previous video, there is a sextile dynamic, although as you can see, with Jupiter at 12 and Saturn at 6, it's starting to move away from that. But there is at least, so there's still a sign-based sextile between Taurus and Pisces, and this trine that's happening between Mars and Jupiter as we keep going. And then eventually, there you go. Mercury is just speeding along. Like my last video that I made was about Mercury in Cancer. And now, as we get to the beginning of August, then Mercury will be in Virgo. But yeah, Mercury's just zooming along. And that brings me to something else I wanted to talk about, was that if we go back to today, hold on, where are we? Today is July 9th. And then Mercury's at 27 degrees of Cancer today. It's in a perfect trine to Neptune. So very watery, kind of emotional kind of stuff going on that side of it. And then as Mercury is still going pretty fast, in just a couple of days, we've got Mercury in Leo at the same time, basically, as Mars is ingressing into Virgo, which is significant because Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, of course. And during this process, Mercury will be applying a conjunction to Venus. And look at, like, Venus is slow because Venus is going retrograde, slowing down to go retrograde, and then Mercury is like speeding along to make a conjunction. So there's a really fast moving Mercury, but a very slow moving Venus, that are eventually going to meet. So there's a certain sociable quality going on. And then there's the opposition between Mars and Saturn. And the way I do astrology anyways, this is what you would call an aversion, being that Mercury is hosting Mars, but there isn't any reception because it's kind of in a blind spot. There's like, because if you see that Mars is in the first house, this is like 12 house stuff in respect to Mars here, right? And there's a kind of like unconscious thing, or it could be that there's some sort of friendly thing going on, but there's some unconscious frustration that isn't playing out on the surface, right? It's like behind the scenes, some sort of thing where people may not be expressing their frustrations outwardly. They're being polite. And I think that's something about Virgo, is that Virgo might bottle things up, or Virgo might be a bit more private about things. And that maybe the Mars in opposition to Saturn, especially when you get, I mean, once you get into the here though, it's a better situation because when Mars in the second decan is the one that's a little bit has to do more with privacy, as I interpret it, being in your kind of secluded garden. And then when you get in there, Mars is going to benefit when once Mercury is in Virgo, because Virgo is both the exaltation and the domicile. It's a especially good dignity for Mercury. And also, Mercury will be separating from the beams of the sun. So it's in towards August, we're getting to have a much better Mercury. So, Virgo, it's all about planning. As I mentioned in my other videos, the importance of having a plan or something, right? Once Mercury is in Virgo with Mars, there's a very cutting, decisive kind of plan, making a decision and following through on it. And there, of course, eventually, you've got things to consider, like Mars will oppose Neptune, and there's kind of the problem there of well, Neptune is a kind of being immersed in water, or like the sea of non-differentiation, and this Mercury Mars is much more about a decisive plan, decisive action of and I kind of am thinking that is encouraging, especially once you consider that you've got a trine from Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus. That looks good to me. That is something I can be enthusiastic about. Okay, thanks for watching.